Thank you for visiting Past the Wire TV, the YouTube channel of PastTheWire.com. Buongiorno everybody, Saratoga Today with Past the Wire. Another week of racing up at the Spa 2021 is just about concluded. We've got day 14 to wrap up. We've got the Grade 2 Amsterdam going 6.5 furlongs on the main track, which promises to be a very, very fast race, which might be run over and off track. Rain again in the forecast at about 2 o'clock, scattered showers throughout the day, possibly getting heavy at times, continuing through the night. Fortunately, there's no racing Monday or Tuesday, so hopefully it dries up by then. We get a run of good weather, but you never know. Sometimes the whole meet you deal with this up there, and it's frustrating to me. Thank you to Amwager, very innovative ADW, whose commercials you see on these shows, for helping to make this show possible. Big shout out to our other sponsor, Zilla Racing Stables, who I always say, highest highs, lowest lows. Yesterday, we know they won with Flat Awesome Jenny. Another unbelievable photo. I think the two most exciting or closest photos of the meet. They won them both. And you know, they had an entry that looked very strong, 3 to 5. One was speed, one was off the pace. Flat Awesome Jenny was off the pace. The other horse went to his knees, her knees at the start. Unseeded Manny Franco, who shout out to Manny, come back and win the very next race, which we always say how tough these guys are. But Zilla, you know, one horse doesn't get to compete, loses its rider. Fortunately, horse and rider are okay, but highest highs, lowest lows in horse racing, and we know that. We see that time in and time out, because you know, you win, it's great. You lose, there's so many different ways to lose, only one way to win. On this particular show, when we give out spot plays, one horse here, one horse there, you know, it's very tough when you're doing it in the morning. Seconditis continues. I mean, Special Reserve ran a huge race yesterday. I can't get to Lexingtonian now. How that horse comes back on the inside to beat us, beat me anyway, head scratcher. But Special Reserve ran a huge race. Looked like he had it put away. But the chips haven't been falling our direction. I mean, but for two really close photos, we'd be having a huge meet. One at 20-something to 1. You know, I don't worry about it because I know it's a long meet, and the way I bet, 1 or 2 connects, erases a lot of deficit and puts you way up in the black. So I'm not worried about it. We'll get our next major wager home when it comes up. Fortunately, we didn't go for the major wager yesterday with Special Reserve, but did like him, did key off him, did go back at him. Would have been a bit of a game changer for me, but so be it. Funny thing is that had he won, I would have been alive in some very, very nice pick 5s, and I would have lost the last race anyway. And my top choice in the last race turned out to be the 2, who just didn't get up. Another tough beat that would have been. Fortunately, it wasn't a major wager off of Special Reserve, but it would have been a nice ticket had he won. With that, we move on. We keep fighting. We keep swinging. Today, I don't know what the conditions are going to be. I got a couple of ideas as we move forward, but those races, maybe they'll try and keep them on the turf because of the dark days Monday and Tuesday. Depends how much rain they get. I don't know. The course is already a little bit soft and off. I think that impacted Moon over Miami yesterday. He doesn't like too much give in the course. There might have been more give than I thought, but they ran him, so should have been all right. But don't know. Cross Border was another one of the ones we like. Love Saratoga. We talked about that, but in the end, the sequence didn't matter because we couldn't get Special Reserve home to start it off. Anyway, moving into today's card, couple of ideas that I had. The horse that I lean to is in the last race, so we'll get to that. But in the third race, I thought that the 7 Eucharist, who's 8-1 on the morning line, and probably going to get a little bit overlooked, even though it's a make a horse off the drubbing last time out, had a real legit chance in here. First off, Irad takes the call, and we know Irad's only taking live calls at Saratoga. Even if it is for a guy he rides for, I will say this about Jose and Irad, and it's something to keep in mind. They don't take a lot of calls they don't like, or any calls they don't like, even if it's for a barn that they ride for and they like. Some riders do. Some riders will take a horse that they're in a race that they're open in, and agents will take a horse that they're open in for a barn that they regularly ride for. Jose and Irad, in my opinion, don't do that very much. They'll just say no thank you, and they're so in demand anyway. They can get away with that, and they'll still remain in demand. So Irad taking the call off that bad race tells me that, dropping in for this level, this horse might be live. Needed that last race, bad post, bad trip, got eased, and we talked about betting horses when my boy Tate ran, betting horses and getting a little extra value off really bad races when you can find an excuse or you're willing to forgive it. And this horse falls in that category to me. I think the 6.5 is going to be good. I think the outside post position is going to be good. I think the one looking for Loki, who's very live for Danny Goggin and also dropping and has speed, is going to take a lot of money on the inside from the rail. And I think that Eucharist may have an outside chance to beat him and run a big race at nice odds. So let's see what happens there. I think the 6.5 is going to be a big help to that cause. So we'll see what happens. In the next race, there's a horse that I have been watching, interestingly, Irad again, and it's an angle that I like, and we talk a lot about angles on this show. But this is a filly who I've been watching and came to New York from California, and looked like she laid over one field at a very short price. Had a bad trip, hit the gate, didn't run well at all. Just looked like had no gas in the tank. Expected her to bounce back off that race and run well the next time out. Didn't, but I got an excuse there. Running against the boys. I like when fillies, especially in the U.S., not so much overseas because it happens a lot more over there, so it's not as, what's the word I want to use? Not as significant, dramatic, but over here, okay, it's not that often that they run the fillies against the boys unless it's, stake races, and even then it's not that often that we see it. Bobby Falcone, who's a pretty sharp young horse trainer, ran this filly against the boys, didn't run well, now comes back against fillies. And interestingly enough, the race is on the turf. It goes off at 2:49, probably be closer to 3 o'clock, the way things run up there. If they take the race off the grass, I mean, I like at a rebound and run a big one if it stays on. If they take it off, I think that she is probably just as live if she stays in the race, maybe even more so. Hasn't run on the dirt, but bred for off track. It would not shock me to see her stay in the race and run very good if it comes off the turf. Uh, Moving on down the line on the card. In the seven, interesting. Carl Broberg has a couple of horses in today. Interviewed him on the show about maybe not even a week ago, a couple of days ago. We talked about a lot of things. It's up on Past the Wire TV, where these shows are. And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to Past the Wire TV on YouTube. You'll get all these videos directly, or you'll know at least when they're up. You can go there directly and see them. You don't got to wait for me to send them out. Anyway, that said, on Past the Wire TV, you'll see the interview with Carl Broberg. It's very, very interesting, and he's a very, very sharp guy. And I don't know him personally, but was not at all how I expected him to be. And he and I have a lot of very similar thoughts, outlooks on racing, betting, things like that. And he mentioned that he was coming up to Saratoga, had a horse in the Amsterdam, and we'll talk about the Amsterdam. And I think the guy is worth watching as he tries to branch away from the smaller tracks, get better horses, and move on to the New York circuit, maybe Kentucky circuit, some of the bigger circuits out there. He's really sharp. He's got a horse in the 7th race that he claimed and won a shake for, I believe. Yodel E.A. who comes back relatively quickly. In a very tough spot, but is a live horse. One of the angles we talked about, and we haven't seen it yet. This might be the first time we see it, and it's right around the time when you're going to start seeing it. We're 14 race days into this meet, so there's a long way to go. We're not even at the, we're just really getting into the serious part of the meet now. August 1st, it's the August meet. I don't care what they say about the summer place to be. It's the August meet, Saratoga. And it's getting hot now and getting serious now. And we're going to start seeing horses that have run well or run over the racetrack come back and run again. This is one of those horses. This horse won a race over the track, comes back relatively quickly. I believe in a live spot, but there's two horses in here that are really tough in my opinion, and that's Aloha West and my top choice, who's the 7 Nighttime. Looks like, Dale Romans hasn't been as hot and as killer deadly as he was a couple of years back. But he didn't forget how to train by any stretch of the imagination. And he knows how tough it is to win at Saratoga. Looks like this horse needed its last race, and I'm talking about the 7 Nighttime. Well drawn outside, and I think goes forward here and is very dangerous. Top choice. The two I fear are Aloha West, who is a very serious closer in here with Joel. That's a perfect fit. We know that. Wayne Catman Catalano, one of the sharpest out there. I do know Wayne, big fan of his. Excellent trainer. Always dangerous, in my opinion, the Catman. But I thought that race came, those were the three. I thought the favorite Town Classic was going to have his hands full with those three horses. If he winds up the favorite, it wouldn't surprise me if Aloha West winds up the favorite by post time. And we'll see what happens with that. The Amsterdam, fast race. I mean, on paper, Drain the Clock and Jackie's Warrior are significantly faster than anybody else in there. But these kind of races, especially when you go from 6 to 6.5, as comfortable and as easy as it is to say, well, it comes down to these two. If they hook up in a duel like they did last time, in a dogfight, you never know. Especially if it's a wet, heavy, muddy track that favors those down the middle of the track closes, which does happen at Saratoga. We know how that mud and goo gets up there. So if that happens, it could become a very, very interesting race. Chad's horse, Crowded Trade, was a vet scratch last time. Probably has the horse right now. One of the horses we talked about on the show with Carl Broberg was Flash of Mischief, and he said he's probably going to get hammered in this race. It's so tough, but His horse is cutting back in distance, and if they hook up, I don't know. You know, it's a tricky race to me. But if you put a gun to my head and said, you know, you have to take a stand, I might say Jackie's Warrior is just going to outrun the other two speed horses, the 1 and the 2 early, and like Angle. I hate to use a cliche, but quote, speedy to speed. Last time out, trouble at the gate, hit the gate, didn't get out well, still ran a bang up race, gets out clean at 6.5 at Saratoga, gets the lead. Might be very, very difficult to reel in, and I would probably lean there. But if something fluky happens, it becomes anybody's race. But I would probably gamble that won't happen this time, and we'll see what happens. Also see how the track is playing. That'll be a big key into how I approach that race. The last race, I lean to a horse by default, a kind of horse I normally don't bet, don't go after, but if we get the changes on this card and it comes up a late pick 4 or pick 5 sequence I want to get involved in, I'm going to stand in the last race with the 5 Elusive Sight. Pletcher dropped down off the layoff. That got bet first time out as a 2-year-old, hasn't run since then, comes back off a very, very long layoff. And I think doesn't have to be much to be betted in these. I really land there by default. Comes back with Lasix. Saez rides the heck out of the Pletcher drop downs and gets a lot of them home. There's just nobody else I really want to land on in here. And again, does not have to be much to get the job done in the finale. So I would stand there, win, lose, or draw, and take my chances. So that's what my thoughts on the card. Again, another card I don't love, and another card that is going to probably be significantly affected by the weather if the forecast holds through. Let's recap the Jim Dandy a little bit, because one of the things I said earlier in the week was the Curlin and the Jim Dandy will give us clues about the Travers. There were a lot of different takes on the race yesterday by Essential Quality. Before I get to that, I will say I rewatched the race on Friday with First Captain. I don't think the race was as bad as I originally thought that it was for him. He did get a little bit wrapped up on the last part of it, but the race was over. He wasn't going to win. Jose wrapped up on him. I think he can go forward and build off that, which I really didn't think so the first time I watched it live. But watching it again, calmed down, really focused on him. Made a move, a little wide, took a little bump, turning for home. Those other horses got a little bit away from him, but it was, I think, that angle that we talked about where first time going 2 turns, they don't have that same punch. Now with that race under the belt, 4 weeks till the Travers, wouldn't surprise me if he comes back in the Travers off that race and goes forward. Enough to win, that remains to be seen. We'll worry about that in a month. But race wasn't as bad for him as I originally thought it was. Essential Quality. A lot of different takes. Okay, mine is that he got the job done. He was very, very wide. But what I didn't like about it, and it was an excellent race. But what I didn't like about it was from the prep standpoint. Okay, I don't know if 4 weeks is enough to recover from a race like that. We talked about me being against Firenze Fire yesterday because coming off a very, very hard race, he didn't run well. Essential Quality, in my opinion, ran very hard yesterday. Okay, had to keep me in mind, who got an unbelievable ground-saving trip with Rosario, and still couldn't beat Essential Quality. Essential Quality is the best 3-year-old. We know that. We knew that going in. It was no surprise. But very wide, covered a lot of ground, a lot more ground than anybody else in the race. Made a long sustained run to get into contention, get the lead. Horse saved that ground on the inside while he made that wide move to get to the lead. He lost the lead, had to re-rally, have his head turned towards the inside by Luis to kind of get him back focused, get his mind on business and really ride him to get up. Yes, put the other horse away, was starting to pull away in the end, but very, very hard race. Now, some people will say that's what you want in a prep. Some people will say that he had to work too hard. I think it was an excellent race for him, and he won it. But I don't like that as a prep. I like a prep to be a little bit easier, to get out of it what you need, but not have to go all in and get gutted to win it. My biggest question with him is going to be, is 4 weeks enough to recover from that kind of effort? And we'll watch how he trains, watch how he works, watch how he looks. But horses can fool you. They fool the best of trainers that way. They look ready, they're in the feed, and they regress off hard races. So may create some opportunity in the Travers. We'll see. We'll watch the Thoroughgraph numbers, see how he ran, see what it showed up, watch how he trains, watch the competition, and see. But I thought that was a pretty tough race for him to have to run as a prep race. With that, another week in the books. A little bit of seconditis. We're gonna erase that. We're looking for that second major wager. We got the first one home. We're looking for the second one. We're looking to win one of these photos with one of these 20-to-1 shots. It's gonna happen. We're hanging tough, and enjoy the races. Keep swinging. Ciao for now. We will be back on Wednesday at Saratoga Today. Ciao for now. Nobody does it better.